May our Father, Messiah, and Holy Spirit be with us. Zedekiah were prophesied before them. Zedekiah, son of Chenanah, had provided himself with iron horns, and he said, "Thus said our Father in heaven, with these you shall gore the Arameans till you make an end of them." All the other prophets were prophesying similarly. March against Ramoth Gilead and be victorious. Our Father in heaven will deliver it into your majesty's hands. The messenger who had gone to summon Micaiah said to him, "Look, the words of the prophets are unanimously favorable to the king. Let your word be like that of the rest of them. Speak a favorable word by the life of our Father in heaven." Micaiah answered, "I will speak only what my Elohim tells me." When he came back before the king said to him, "Micah, shall we march against Ramoth Gilead for battle, or shall we not?" He answered them, "March and be victorious. They will be delivered into your hands." Then the king said to him, "How many times must I adjure you to tell me nothing but the truth in the name of our Father in heaven?" Then he said, "I saw all Israel scattered over the hills like sheep without a shepherd, and our Father in heaven said, 'These have no master. Let everyone return to his home in safety.'" The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, "Did I not tell you that he would not prophesy good fortune for me, but only misfortune?" Then Micaiah said, "Indeed, hear now the word of our Father in heaven. I saw our Father in heaven seated upon his throne, with all the hosts of heaven standing in attendance to the right and to the left of him. Our Father in heaven asked, who will entice King Ahab of Israel so that he will march and fall at Ramoth Gilead?" Then one said this, and another said that, until a certain spirit came forward and stood before our Father in heaven and said, "I will entice him." How said our Father in heaven to him? And he replied, "I will go forth and become a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets." Then he said, "You will entice him." Then he said, "You will entice with you." Then he said, "You will entice with success. Go forth and do it." Thus said our Father in heaven. Thus our Father in heaven has put a lying spirit in the mouth of all the prophets of yours. For our Father in heaven has decreed misfortune for you. Thereupon Zedekiah, son of Chenanah, came up and struck Micaiah on the cheek and exclaimed, However did the spirit of our Father never pass from me to speak with you?" Micaiah replied, "You will see on the day when you tried to hide in the innermost room." Then the king of Israel said, "Take Micaiah and turn him over to Amon, the governor of the city, and to Prince Joash, and say the king's orders are, put this fellow in prison and let his face be scant. Put this fellow in prison and let his fare be scant bread and scant water until I come home safe." To which Micaiah retorted, "If you ever come home safe, our Father in heaven has not spoken through me." He said further, "Listen, all you peoples, the king of Israel and King Jehoshaphat of Judah marched against Ramoth Gilead." The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, "I will disguise myself and go into the battle, but you wear your robes." So the king of Israel disguised himself, and they went into the battle. The king of Aram had given these instructions to his chariot officers: Do not attack anyone small or great, except the king of Israel." When the chariot officers saw Jehoshaphat, whom they took for the king of Israel, they wheeled around to attack him, and Jehoshaphat cried out, "And our Father in heaven, helped them, and Elohim and our Father in heaven diverted them from him." And when the chariot officers realized that he was not the king of Israel, they gave up the pursuit. Then a man drew his bow at random and hit the king of Israel between the palace to armor, and he said to the charioteer, "Turn around and get me behind the lines. I am wounded." The battle raged all day long, and the king remained propped up in the chariot facing Aram until dusk. He died as the sun was setting. I'm just waiting on it to get warmer. King Jehoshaphat of Judah returned safely to his palace to Jerusalem. Jehu, son of Hananiah the seer, went out to meet King Jehoshaphat and said to him, "Should one give aid to the wicked and befriend those who hate our Father in heaven? For this wrath is upon you from our Father in heaven. However, there is some good in you, for you have purged the land of the sacred post and have dedicated yourself to worship Elohim." Jehoshaphat remained in Jerusalem a while and then went out among the people from Beersheba to the hill country of Ephraim. He brought them back to our Father in heaven, Elohim of their fathers. He appointed judges in the land and all the fortified towns of Jehudah. In each and every town he charged the judges, "Consider what you are doing, for you judge not on behalf of man, but on behalf of our Father in heaven. And he is with you when you pass judgment. And not let the dread of our Father in heaven be upon you. Act with care, for there is no injustice or favoritism or bribe taking with our Father in heaven, our Elohim." Jehoshaphat also appointed in Jerusalem some Levites and priests and heads of the clans of Israelites for rendering judgment in matters of our Father in heaven and for disputes. Then they returned to Jerusalem. He charged them, "This is how you shall act in fear of our Father in heaven, with fidelity and with whole heart. When a dispute comes before you from your brothers living in their towns, whether about homicide or about ritual or laws or rules, you must instruct them so that they do not incur guilt before our Father in heaven and wrath be upon you and your brothers. Act so, and you will not incur guilt. See, Amariah, the chief priest, is over you in all cases concerning our father in heaven, and Zebediah, son of Ishmael, is the commander of the house of Jehudah in all cases concerning the king. The Levitical officials are at your disposal. Act with resolve, and our father in heaven be with the good. After that, Moabites, Ammonites, together with some Ammonium came against Jehoshaphat to wage war. The report was brought to Jehoshaphat, a great multitude is coming against you from beyond the sea, from Aram, and is now in Hazam Tamor, that is in Gedi. Jehoshaphat was afraid. He decided to resort to our father in heaven and proclaim a fast for all Jehudah. Jehudah assembled to beseech our father in heaven. They also came from all the towns of Jehudah to seek our father in heaven. Jehoshaphat stood in the congregation of Jehudah and Jerusalem in the house of our Father in heaven at the front of the new court. He said, O our Father in heaven, Elohim of our fathers, truly you are the Elohim in heaven, and you rule over the kingdoms of the nations. Power and strength are yours. None can oppose you, O our Elohim. You dispossess, O our Father in heaven. You dispossess the inhabitants of this land before your people Israel, and you gave it to the descendants of your friend Abraham forever. They settled in it, and in it built for you a house for your name. They said, should misfortune befall us, the punishing sword, pestilence, or famine, we shall stand before this house and before you. For your name is in this house, and we shall cry out to you in our distress, and you will listen and deliver us. Now the people of Ammon, Moab, and the hill country of Seir, into whose land you did not let Israel come when they came from Egypt, but they turned aside from them and did not wipe them out. These now repay us by coming to expel us from your possession, which you gave us as ours. O our Elohim, surely you will punish them, for we are powerless before this great multitude that has come against us, and do not know what to do. But our eyes are on you. All Jehudah stood before our Father in heaven with their little ones, their womenfolk, and their children. Then in the midst of the congregation, the spirit of our Father in heaven came upon Jahaziel, son of Zechariah, son of Benaiah, son of Jael, son of Mattaniah, the Levite of the sons of Asaph. And he said, give heed, all Jehudah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and King Jehoshaphat. Thus said our Father in heaven to you, do not fear or be dismayed by this great multitude, for the battle is Elohim, is not yours. March down against them tomorrow. As they come up by the accent of Ziz, you will find them at the end of the wadi in the direction of the wilderness of Jeruel. It is not for you to fight this battle. Stand by, wait, and witness your deliverance by our Father in heaven. O Jehudah and Jerusalem, do not fear or be dismayed. Go forth to meet them tomorrow, and our Father in heaven will be with you. Jehoshaphat bowed low with his face to the ground, and all Jehudah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem threw themselves down before our Father in heaven, to worship our Father in heaven. The Levites of the sons of Kohath and of the sons of Korah got up to extol our Father in heaven, Elohim Israel, at the top of their voices. Early the next morning they arose and went forth to the wilderness. It's definitely too cold out here, so I'm about to just go back inside. Man, find me something to spec with us. Hold on. Man.